electronics, there's a lot of different variations and different ways to rig this.
Patterns have been working really well.
This week's Buzz Bite report.
Just keep snapping it off the bottom. This is just a remarkable concentration of fish.
Real good fish.
Oh, she looks so nice. Wow. Unreal. Look at that.
They are heavy.
Oh, look at that.
On today's show, we're talking about summer walleye strategies. This is AnglingBuzz TV. I'm Troy Linder.
And I'm Tony Roach.
As the walleyes shift into their summer pattern, it really opens up to a diversity of different presentations to target them.
Yeah, without a doubt, the walleyes are starting to get into their summer movements, their summer patterns. They're really scattering out throughout the systems. You've got fish that are on mid-lake humps and transition lines. You've got some lakes where the fish are really shallow, and really the diversity of where the walleyes are this time of year can vary from lake to lake, river to river. I heavily rely on my electronics this time of year to find and locate fish. In one instance, I might be pulling spinners. The next, I might be pulling crankbaits, casting jigs, and my rod locker really starts to get stuffed this time of year. And so using your electronics to determine how you should be fishing will ultimately put more fish in the boat.
Yeah, it really does open things up for different presentations for sure. So let's take a close look at summer walleye strategies.
When's your favorite time to fish walleye? Spring, when they're shallow? The big bait, big fish bite in the fall? Or how about now, when the weather's nice and the fish are shallow, deep and in between? Summer is a great time to target walleyes. There are still some fish in the weeds, and they're also showing up in big numbers on offshore locations and suspended over the abyss. There are so many good bites going on too. Jigging wraps are on fire, spinners in the weeds and breaks are consistently producing, and monsters are being caught on trolling cranks in open water. It's amazing how much we've learned about walleyes, where they live, and what they eat throughout the year. But not all fish do the same thing at the same time. Chances are, right now, on any good-sized body of water, there are shallow weed fish working the 15 to 20 foot breaks and points, fish working main lake humps, and fish suspended over the deepest water in the system. The more we fish them, the more we learn, and our collective knowledge of where they go and when keeps us on fish consistently.
Tony, you spend a lot of time on the water. What are three main presentations you would have going on right now?
Well, Troy, it's the second week in June. If I had to narrow it down to three, it would be pulling spinners, whether that's a butterfly blade, Colorado blade, Indiana blade, but a trolling type of spinner bite. It'd also be vertical jigging. There's lots of times where these fish are loaded up on main lake humps, bars, that sort of thing. And then, of course, crankbaits. Trolling options, so if the fish are really scattered out, I can cover water in good detail. But really, once again, it's using those electronics to narrow down how you're going to fish. Like I said, if the fish are really, really loaded up on one spot, I'm going to want to pitch jigs and plastics, jigging wraps. I want my bait to stay in the fish as long as I possibly can. Spinners, if they're scattered out on a bar, or even a break line or a weed line, where I want to be able to troll and hit various spots along there and then turn around and go back over the top of them. It's hard to beat that spinner bite for walleyes in early June. And then, of course, when they really get scattered out, guess what? Crankbaits are going to be my number one tool.
Yeah, and I think those three presentations and techniques apply to basically anywhere in the AnglingBuzz region. After this short break, we have our highlight destination feature, as well as the first of our Buzz Bite reports. Stay with us.
According to Minnesota's Department of Natural Resources, in 2017, 97% of boaters surveyed by watercraft inspectors followed Minnesota's clean, drain, dispose laws. Let's keep it this way. Clean aquatic plants and animals from boats, trailers, and equipment. Drain all water from watercraft, including the motor, and keep drain plugs out during transport. Dispose of unused bait properly. Together, we're preventing the spread of aquatic invasive species in Minnesota.
At Donalinger Auto, the customer comes first. That's why they've been in the automotive business for over 50 years. They pride themselves in making real connections with real people. They're auto experts and active community supporters. Buying, leasing, new or pre-owned, Donnalinger's top-notch service stands above. They'll keep you on the road and on the water. Stop in for a visit to see the excellent variety or shop at home at DonnalingerAuto.com.
Lake Vermilion. Explore. Relax. Reconnect.
Minnesota's most beautiful lake.
Get hooked on our trophy walleye,
That's a beauty.
bass,
My favorite fish.
musky fish,
That's a beauty there.
Things to do? You'll never get bored.
Rooms with a view? We got 'em.
Lake Vermilion. 4 seasons of fun.
Help your engine run smoother and last longer with Seafoam Marine Pro. Get it today at Fleet Farm. And while you're there, enter for a chance to win this boat in the Seafoam Marine Pro sweepstakes. Seafoam Marine Pro, available at Fleet Farm.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. Coming up next, we have our highlight destination feature. This week, we're going to the Alexandria region. Just a ton of lakes there, very diverse fisheries, and a lot of different fish to catch. And the presentations you mentioned earlier in the show, this applies to many fish other than walleye.
Oh, without a doubt, Troy. You get over at Alexandria, it's unbelievable how many lakes you have in that area. And everything I talked about, let's list spinners, for example. You start pulling spinners over the tops of weeds, you're gonna catch walleyes, smallmouth bass, largemouth, pike, you name it, even panfish at times. Then to pitching jigs, it's got some great structure where you can pitch mid-lake humps with jigs and plastic. Jigging wraps are one of my favorite tools in that Alexandria area. And then of course, crankbaits. No wrong way to fish a crankbait, right? If you like casting, if you like trolling, you're gonna catch fish and you're gonna have a lot of fun doing it.
So let's head over there right now. This is Alexandria. We're here out in the Alexandria area, which has some phenomenal fishing. I'm here with Joe Segura, local guide, also contributes a lot to the Angling Buzz community with his reports here. And there's a lot more to the area here than just fishing. Today, a beautiful day, and with the resorts and everything around here, what else, can people experience here?
Certainly is. There's obviously a little bit for everybody. Shopping, as well as beaches and tremendous clear lakes for swimming and boating and all that, and bike trails. So with all that, of course we have fishing on top of that, and the Viking Sportsman does a big part in stocking a lot of these lakes around here. So we have some tremendous walleye fisheries, as well as panfish, northern, and bass on top of that.
And what about the lodging out here?
There's some big resorts around here, I guess. Arrowwood's probably one of the biggest. It's got a big water park. It's real popular in the wintertime. People go out ice fishing, come back in, go to the water park with the kids, and head back out to the ice rental or stay at the right at the water park there in one of the hotels they have there, or hotel rooms they have there.
And how about the restaurants right on the water here in the Alexandria area?
Yeah, restaurants. We have, on a day like today, there's nothing better than, if it gets hot and calm, fishing gets slow or something, you cruise up to one of the restaurants right on the water, grab a burger, and then head back out for the evening walleye bite. Works out quite well. Oh, that's a bite.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah,
There's one. That's not too bad a fish.
Line in. And yeah, sometimes on a nice day like this, they kind of
stand down.
Yeah. Ooh.
Not too bad a fish here.
Yeah.
Probably 20 something.
Yeah.
Oh, he does not want to come in.
Yeah. There's right there.
Nice net job.
Yeah. I think any day you can get walleye like this, and this is the reason right here. This fish, why so many people come to the Alexandria area. Walleye eaters, and then the size like this, and even much bigger.
This size is a little too big to keep. I know we got some for lunch, but
yeah.
Why don't we just go and let this guy go? He's probably 20, 22.
Yes, the Alexandria region is absolutely beautiful. Obviously, we're talking about fishing, but it's also a great area to go with your family. There's a lot of other outdoor activities you can experience and have fun doing there.
Yeah, without a doubt, Alexandria is like the postcard for Minnesota summers, right? I mean, it's all about family fun. And when I think of the Alexandria area, it's just that classic Minnesota lakes, waking up, going fishing with your family, and doing a lot of fun activities.
Yes, it is for sure. And right now, well, it's time for the first of our Buzz Bite reports.
For our first report, let's head over to Lake Sakakawea where Josh Johnson's on a multi-species bite.
I'm on the west end of Sakakawea right now. The west end has really been the focus of a lot of the hottest walleye action just because it's a little shallower, warmer. There's a lot of the walleye spawn and smelt spawn that go on this end of the lake. Pulling slow death rigs. The water's pretty clear at the moment. And I was fishing, catching them in about 13 to 20 feet of water. Just going about 3/4 of a mile an hour with a slow death rig and a half crawler. Super basic, super easy, and super effective. The key is really just to change with the transitions. We have a lot of hot day, cold day, clear water, dirty water. It's important to not get stuck on what worked yesterday, but work with those conditions. In addition to a fantastic walleye bite, the pike fishing in the shallow bays has been incredible. If you can pattern out what kind of shallow cover and what kind of structure they're in, you can run and hit those spots, run through them. Really put together an insane northern pike bite out here. And don't forget about the smallmouth as well. There's an incredible smallmouth fishery out here. Jigs and grubs, jerk baits, topwater. It can be a blast this time of year as well. Enjoy Sakakawea.
Thanks, Josh. Now don't go anywhere because when we come back, we have more Buzz Bite reports to come as Angling Buzz continues.
Looking for the perfect fishing vacation? Leech Lake, Minnesota. There's over 112,000 acres of water to explore with fantastic walleye, bass, pike, panfish, and trophy muskies. The fishing opportunities are endless. Leech Lake has it all with over 30 resorts, lodges, campgrounds, and hotels line its pristine shores. Plan your trip. It's Minnesota's original up north vacation destination.
Help your marine engine run smoother and last longer with Marine Pro from the makers of Seafoam Motor Treatment. Just pour it in. Fast starts and smooth running power have never been this easy. Seafoam Marine Pro, available at Fleet Farm.
Sportfish Michigan is your #1 source for top charter captains and fishing guides in Michigan. Our network of professionals are full-time anglers with years of experience providing customers with the best possible fishing trip services. Fish for trout, salmon, steelhead on Lake Michigan or its famous tributary rivers, the Traverse City area's world-class smallmouth bass, walleye fishing on the Detroit River and Saginaw Bay, or northern Michigan's spectacular ice fishing. We do it all. Sportfish Michigan. Get out. Get bit.
Okay, let's do it.
Wow, that's a big boy there.
It's unbelievable.
Look at the size of that beast.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. Now that muskie season is officially open in Minnesota, we're gonna head up to Lake Vermilion where Billy Rosner's chasing muskie.
Hey, here my buddy Rick, he got his first muskie. Beautiful fish. We're doing a little unorthodox method here, long line trolling, small stick baits, and just a beautiful muskie. These fish are back in their bays, just starting to come out. This thing's small baits, 3 miles an hour, works pretty well. Great time up here in Lake Vermilion. Like I keep preaching, tough thing is to decide what you want to fish for. Muskies, big walleye, big pike, crappies, bass. It's all going on up here. So have a great week and we'll talk to you next time.
Next up, let's head over to Leech Lake where Jeff Anderson has been chasing muskie and walleye.
Leech Lake has still been very good for walleye fishing, lots and lots and lots of keepers.
We had a bug hatch. Spinners are going to start being king with covering tons of water. So if you're looking to go up and chase walleyes, I would have night crawlers with a spinner rig, and we're still catching them on a jig and a minnow, driving around and marking them with the side imaging and pitching to them. As for muskie fishing, we're going to start chasing them here, and I wanted to share with you my two go-to lures. The first one is swim bait by Svartsvanker. This is the 6.5 inch, and this is a really good fish catcher this time of year. It's a smaller bait. You can cover lots of water. The nice thing is you catch all different species, walleyes and pike on it. And then my other favorite is a smaller bucktail. This is the Big Tooth Juice Mini 8. The reason I like the Juice Mini 8 is the marabou and the smaller blades. This time of year you can cover tons of water. With our water temps being in almost the 60s, you don't need to be crazy fast with your bucktail yet. I would slow that bucktail down to a medium retrieve, and I think you'll find more success.
Now let's head over to western Minnesota, the Alexandria region, where Joe Segura has been on a multi-species bite.
Well, we're continuing to have a pretty good sunfish crappie bite around the area here. At 2 to 4 foot of water, anywhere near those pencil weeds. The crappies are turning quite black right now, so they actually stick out pretty well. Just running a small red-white plastic like this, or green and white or pinks. Also been working well on a 1/32 ounce jig. Just throw a wax worm on there, a minnow, and under a bobber a couple feet, and been getting some really nice fish that way. As far as the walleye go, they're starting to slide a little deeper, transitioning away from the jig and a minnow bite. There's a lot of new weeds coming up, and so if you can find some rocks and some of those new weeds, seems to be the combination right now holding a lot of those walleye. A little bit of a chop does help. This morning we had a nice chop, had a great bite going. Right now I'm just kind of waiting until it gets a little bit later here, and those fish will come back up off the bottom and start feeding pretty hard. So low light, or if you get some wind, those walleyes have been pretty active.
For our next report, let's check in with Justin Geike in north central Wisconsin.
There's a great reason to come to Wisconsin right now. Fishing in the Wausau area and to the north is absolutely excellent water temperatures, moving up mostly into the 60s. Wausau area smallmouth bass are done spawning, and they're hot and heavy in the spawn in the Northwoods. Doing a lot of sight fishing on deep, clear lakes. For the largemouth, they're just moving into the pre-spawn. We're catching most of those anywhere from 3 to 8 feet of water on new weed growth, primarily using drop shotting and Ned rig as a tactic. Muskies, they're done with the spawn. You can still find plenty of them up shallow, mostly males. You want the big females, move out to the deep drop humps. They're starting to set up on their summer patterns. Northern pike are going crazy if you want to have fun, and bluegills are spawning everywhere.
For our last report of the show, we're going to talk bass with Captain Ben Wolf in Michigan.
We're coming on in mid-June, and we've got bass spawning all across the state. For those anglers targeting bass, it's really important for those that are fishing on the Great Lakes and the connecting waters that have gobies in them to really try and get those fish back as quickly as possible. Those gobies can really wreak havoc on the nests. So for our future, it's important to try and get those fish back healthy as quickly as possible. And another thing, we're seeing school coming out, and we're seeing a lot more boat traffic, whether it's pleasure boating, skiing, jet skis, or bass boats. No matter what you're fishing for, we're all trying to have a good time out here. So show a little courteous respect and give people leeway, give people plenty of room to fish or do whatever they're doing. We're all trying to have a good time. Let's share the water and have a good time at it.
Thanks, Ben. Now don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have cool products and the technique of the week as Angling Buzz continues.
Explore Alexandria, Minnesota. Whether it's a long weekend or a week-long loaded with family fun, you'll find plenty of things to do in Alex. Unleash your inner explorer with over 300 lakes, beaches, parks, hundreds of miles of trails, dining, golf, shopping, museums, and history. Alexandria is Minnesota's hidden gem. Go to explorealex.com to find your vacation this season.
From lawnmowers to lawn games, Fleet Farm has what you need to get the best backyard on the block. Whether it's season it, smoke it, grill it season. Green thumb is an understatement season. Or even, this is the life season. There's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, you don't need it. Because we have it all. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
Having spent a lifetime fishing all over North America, I know a lot about water, wind, and waves. Water can be an inviting place, and yet at the same time, it can also be very unforgiving. With a simple push of a button, this fully adjustable Smooth Moves air suspension is designed to tame the waves and give you a smooth and comfortable ride no matter what conditions you face. Tame the water, wind, and waves with Smooth Moves.
Be sane. Don't fritter away your time. Create. Act. Take a place wherever you are. And be somebody. Get action.
And now it's time for our cool products, brought to you by Fleet Farm. We're gonna start out with a few different kinds of line, a couple from Suffolk here, the 832 braid. And this is a fantastic line of braid from Suffolk's. And with this, normally you'd use a leader, good fluorocarbon or monofilament leader. And here's a couple different leaders here. This is the Suffolk's Advance Mono, and from Northland Tackle, the Bionic Walleye Fishing Line. And for some of the baits here, in a lot of the presentations like jigging and trolling, flatline trolling, use a lot of braid with leaders in this size, sort of that 8 to 10 pound range, even down to 6 if you're using smaller baits. And smaller baits like this from Rappo, the Shad Dancer. You can cast this, you can troll this, a variety of species can be caught on it. And if you're structure fishing down deep, you know, the DT series, this is just a fantastic line of baits from Rapala. You know, they go all the way from like DT4s all the way up to DT20s. And these middle ranges like this from 6 to 16, really great for both walleye and bass. You can cast these, you control these. I'd use a little bit heavier line if you're going up to like 16s, but these DT6, DT10s can be thrown on like the line that we have over here. And for trolling, from Reef Runner, just a bunch of different baits, you know, different sizes, different colors in this line. You know, some of the smaller ones like this, all the way up to some bigger ones. If you notice the colors on here, very, very bright. These are, you know, these would be good for trout, salmon, and walleye. And also for trolling, well, Northland Tackle and trolling, they go together really well. They have the butterfly blades. These have really come on strong in the past couple of years because you can work these at a very slow speed. These butterfly blades, they turn really well when you're trolling very, very slow. And they come in some nice bright colors, a couple different, you know, designs here from different bead designs, different color combinations. And also you need a good bottom bouncer. And the Rock Runner, a great one from Northland Tackle, you know, 1 ounce here. And if you're fishing, you know, in heavy current or down deep, well, you can always get up to 3 ounces of weight to get your baits and your presentations down there from Northland Tackle. And here's something you definitely want to have in your boat if you troll, both for muskie or walleye. This is an offshore tackle side planer board. This happens to be the right side model. You definitely want a board for the right or the left, and a few different sizes. And it has a nice little flag up at the top of that to be able to see bright colors so you can see in low light when your board is away from the boat. From Offshore Tackle, the side planer boards. These products, you can get them online at fleetfarm.com. You can also get them at your local Fleet Farm store. And right now, it is time for our technique of the week.
You know, when I started getting intrigued with hair jigs for walleyes was a few years back. But I got to thinking about the triggering effect of a hair jig. Just like you fish it like, I said, man, I wonder what would happen if we started to fish them like I did jigging wraps or snap jigging like we did with plastic on the back of like a moon-eye jig, which is so deadly. And it started to produce a whole lot of fish. And it's become a real tool for me. It's been added to my bag of tricks. Why? Because it works. It works. This is a VMC, a bucktail jig, and what is so unique about it, or one of the things that are unique about it, the head is shaped like a pear. It's weighted front forward, heavy weight on the front, and it just makes this jig fish a lot different than say the Moon-Eye jig, which is used for a different purpose. Shapes of heads, dressings, the different things. There's a lot more to a jig than a ball head and sticking a minnow on the back of it. A whole lot more. And that's one of the things we're talking about today. Fine-tuning some stuff in jig fishing and the resurgence of hair jigging, which is a lot of fun. Now, if I can, I gotta stretch my brain out to get back to the origins of hair jigging for walleyes in the Midwest. You gotta realize there was a time when there were no big box retailers, and almost all tackle was sold through what we would term independent dealers. These were little mom and pop shops spread throughout walleye country. In this region, the doll fly was the first of its kind, a bucktail jig used for catching walleyes. Next was Jack Crawford's jig, which had the most diverse line of what we term hair jigs. Then came the Cap's jig out of northern Iowa. This was all prior to any mass-produced soft plastics. And then up popped the Mr. Twister and the soft bait revolution started, and the hair jig, well, it got lost in the shuffle. The fact is, hair jigging never stopped being effective. Many older anglers simply forgot how effective it was. And many new anglers, well, they don't know how good it can be.
You know, when you think about hair on the back of baits, like jigs or anything, I can think back, and I've caught, in saltwater, I've caught grouper, I've caught drum, I've caught snappers, I've caught barracuda, I've caught tarpon, I've caught dorado. In freshwater, I've caught largemouth, smallmouth, I've caught lake trout, I've caught muskies, I've caught northern pike, and crappies love hair. And there's something about the hair bait, and what I've noticed, like last year, we were crappie fishing, and I had one of the best crappie days I've ever had in my entire life, pre-spawn, and we were fishing hair underneath a float, and these fish would come up and hit that bait and swim off like it was a live minnow. And there's something about hair that's not revolting or just, you know what I mean? They'll hit it and they hold on to it, unlike sometimes with plastics.
Hair jigs can work great for bass as well. And also this time of year for walleye, you know, being versatile is key. They can be anywhere, shallow, deep, and anywhere in between.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Troy. Now, I know there's a bunch of guys and gals out there watching that are in their living room, sharpening the big trebles, excited for muskie opener here in our neck of the woods. Now, make sure you check in next week's show because we are going to be talking about muskies, so stay tuned.
We want to remind you, as always, to help stop the spread of aquatic invasive species. Anytime you're leaving any body of water, clean, drain, dry.
And don't forget to head over to your local Fleet Farm store because our friends from Seafoam are giving away a fully rigged Lund boat.
And we have a sweepstakes as well going on here at AnglingBuzz. You can win a stay up on Lake Vermilion, $500 worth of Rapala tackle, and a $500 Fleet Farm gift card. Hey, thank you for joining us this week. I'm Troy Linder.
And I'm Nick Linder. We will see you next time.
Fresh report from Lake of the Woods,
Grand Traverse Bay,
Alexandria, Minnesota.
Get out, get fishing,
have fun,
rock and roll, take care.